Hello, hello, happy Tuesday, and welcome back to the show. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. If you're joining me on a replay, happy replay day to you as well. We're live and excited to welcome you to today's live level up conversation.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market update. Speed round. Award-winning financial pro. And now, get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. I'm Winnie Sun, your host, Forbes contributor, CNBC council member, and award winning financial pro, here to keep you on top of all things trending, relevant business news. And we actually have quite a slate of news today. I'm excited to share with you some of the things that are happening in the world of finance, of course. And those of you who are joining me, don't be shy. We are streaming here on about 8 different social media platforms. So do jump in. Let me know where you're joining us from, how you're doing, and of course, how your week's doing, and what you're looking forward to hearing later this week. Now, let's start, of course, and talk about how the market closed. Some positive news, and I think you're going to really like that. For those of you who are investors, maybe you've looked at your 401k, maybe you're preparing for tax season, wondering how the year is going to end up. We're going to take the news when we can get it. The Dow closed up 265 points, Nasdaq closed up 226 points, and the S&P 500 also up almost 53 points as well. Now, today you may have heard the news. Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell came out and made a statement once again about interest rates, about inflation. Many of you have been to the supermarket, to the store. Maybe you're looking at Valentine's Day, maybe in Easter, and thinking, how much more expensive can things get? They really need to do something about this. I would agree. Well, let's talk about inflation. It looks like the Fed chairman has said that it looks like inflation is starting to ease. And in fact, the future of interest rates, people are hoping they're going to start decreasing interest rates, but probably not going to take place so soon. But hopefully, the increases in interest rates later this year will be a little bit more moderate as compared to last year. Definitely, there's still a lot of ways to go. This is what Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is saying. But of course, because it sort of muted, the stock market reacted quite positively, and you're seeing that across the board. We'll take it, right? We'll take the good news where we can get it. Certainly, 2023 is starting to look a lot cheerier than 2022 in the financial markets. Now, we're going to segue over to another company. Talk about a company that did really, really well during the pandemic. This is Zoom. Now, many of you may have not used Zoom to the degree that many of us do today. After 3 years of the pandemic, and we're still in the pandemic, of course, we do know that many of us have become ninjas at Zoom. Well, unfortunately, Zoom is also feeling the impact of people going back to the office, going back to work as usual, and getting away from those early pandemic days where everything was done remotely. In fact, Zoom has just announced that they're going to be doing some pretty dramatic cuts in their payrolls, a lot of employees getting laid off. But in addition to that, which makes this story interesting, is Zoom CEO Eric Yuan is not only doing layoffs in their organization, but he and his executive staff are also saying that we're going to make sure that we are held accountable. We realize that we hired too many people, we grew too quickly during the pandemic, and because of that, I want to show you that I will be accountable. In fact, he said that he's going to reduce his own salary in the coming fiscal year by a whopping 98%. He also said that he would forego his year 2023 corporate bonus, which, many times a CEO might have a smaller salary, but they receive it in the back end in the form of a large corporate bonus. So I don't know how employees are feeling at Zoom, but I imagine for those other employees at other companies looking at what Eric Yuan did here at Zoom as CEO Zoom, they probably feel like, I wish my CEO would do something like that, hold themselves accountable and not just, make cuts across the board. So many cuts at Zoom, but we do know that the CEOs also take responsibility. And that's the kind of thing I think companies, employees like to see at their companies, not just the layoffs occurring at the company, but also the CEO taking responsibility and you know participating in some of that downturn as well. Now, speaking of downturn, this is an area that I really want to talk about. There was an article that came out just recently, and this came from Diane Brady. She is part of Forbes' staff, talking about ChatGPT, Bard, AI, and different companies. Now, I don't know about you, but we have done quite a bit of investigation and testing of ChatGPT. You may have as well, or maybe you've just heard about it in the news. A lot of people are talking about how, they're concerned about college students using ChatGPT to do their homework, to write essays and whatnot, and how professors are going to combat that. And, to make sure that the work that they do is authentically their own. Well, it's interesting because you've heard about, Dell reducing their employee base by 5%, cutting about 6,000, over 6,000 employees. You're seeing that across the board at Amazon and Google. In fact, layoffs.fyi, Diane cited in her article, they said that there's been almost 100,000 employees that have been laid off in the first 5 weeks of 2023. Um, and so that's actually to give you an idea of how many employees have been laid off in 2023. That's already about 60% of layoffs that were reported in all of 2022 in just the first 5 weeks of this year. So is 2023 going to be the year of the layoffs? Because we certainly knew the stock market didn't do so great last year. And stock market is doing a little bit better this year. But I think we can see from the actions of Zoom as well, companies are looking to be a lot more lean, right? Reduce their overhead, reduce their costs. And they're looking at technologies such as ChatGPT and a lot of the other AI technologies and saying, you know what? Our biggest cost is typically in a company payroll, benefit costs, and whatnot. So maybe we can reduce some of our headcount by utilizing some of this technology. Because you may have, if you've actually even tried ChatGPT or some of the other popular AI software tools, maybe you're just actually quite impressed. I've been kind of blown away just by the capability of these tools. So Diana has written in this article talking about AI as being the elephant in the room. What that means for companies such as Microsoft, which, as you know, now has acquired ChatGPT. Google is saying that they're going to bring on another tool called Bard, which people are very excited to see how this is going to compete against ChatGPT and Microsoft, Google, and their Bard, and other many AI tools coming through to fruition. But what I think many of us as business leaders are looking at and thinking of is, what will this replace? What will this new AI technology replace? It wasn't just school exams and even like writing on computer code, believe it or not. ChatGPT, I tried that. I actually tested it and see if it could write code for our website, and sure enough, it wrote quite a bit of code that we could use right away to improve SEO on our website. It's absolutely incredible. But so this article she was talking about is really just the power of AI. Of course, I had to dig a little deeper, so I went a little deeper and went on another article. This one comes from Business Insider, and I think this one definitely should be on your this should be on the top of your desk. You should definitely be paying attention to this one because this article from Business Insider talks about what positions, what jobs do they anticipate AI software such as ChatGPT, what are the jobs that are most at risk of being replaced by AI? This was actually the title of this article. And these are some of the jobs I wanted to share with you that the writer wrote about. Tech jobs such as computer programmers, coders, software engineers, right? Data analysts. In fact, these are some of the top paying jobs, in fact, for college graduates. And so you see a lot of people going full on into STEM, trying to get that STEM degree, but that's actually the number one area that AI could tackle. So if you're someone like myself who has a child or children getting closer to going to college, trying to figure out what they want to study, what they want to do for themselves, this is a list you want to be paying attention to. Okay, so tech jobs is number one. The second job is, of course, media jobs. This includes like probably social media, content creation. This is talking about, writing copy for SEO and technical writing, and even journalism. That's right, like writing for the paper. We already know that a lot of companies, such as the Los Angeles Times here in Southern California, a lot of other papers across the country have already had many, many layoffs across the board because a lot of the work that they've done was replaced by social media. Social media content, social media writer, bloggers really were taking some of that big cut of the journalism space. Well, now AI could be taking that to a whole nother level. So that's another area to be worried about. Legal jobs as well. They're talking about legal assistants, paralegals. Notice they didn't talk about lawyers. So you can see some of the skill set that is still necessary, right? Lawyers still need to go into courtrooms, still need to fight, still need to consult with clients. So probably there's a little bit more stability temporarily for now. They're also talking about market research analysts. I would think like research analysts, period, should be concerned. If I was a research analyst, probably look at other ways to stand out from the competition. This one I thought was fascinating. Teachers. AI teachers. I thought that was fascinating as someone who has three kids that are with teachers all day long. Teachers. Okay. Finance jobs was the next one, including financial advisors, financial analysts, and whatnot. So that's an area as well. Traders, market traders at the New York Stock Exchange that I visited, New York, NASDAQ. So traders. Graphic designers is a big one. Now, any of you have used tools such as Adobe and Canva, you know just how far AI has taken graphic design. That's just the beginning. It looks like that's going to go even higher. Another area they talked about is accountants. I think you and I would both agree that doing our taxes is far too challenging these days, but it probably doesn't need to be that complicated. And if technology can just improve, we already know how powerful TurboTax is. Imagine taking that to a whole nother level. Very, very interesting. The last one is customer service agents. Let me tell you, I feel like we spend way too much time talking to customer service agents via chats and whatnot. But I don't know about you. I always get to a point where I'm just requesting a representative because I feel like the bot can't solve all my problems. But perhaps if it can even solve like 80% of your issues, right? Then they can actually reduce the customer service agents by at least a whopping 50%. So, yes, that's another area of concern. So, jobs could be on the chopping block. So, really curious to see how you feel about that. Other areas that you think that could be replaced. I certainly think fast food is an area as well, right? We've seen robots cook food for fast food as well, drive-throughs. There's a lot of areas I think that continue to be at the brink of being taken over by AI. But I think we have a little time. We still have a little time. I don't think you should stress yet, but good to keep this top of mind to plan ahead. As a financial person, I'm always thinking about planning ahead. And this is no different. This is no different. All right. This is another thing I wanted to share with you. And of course, this is a positive story because I like to share our segments with a positive spin. And this is on the topic of eggs. Now, many of you have written to me, even tweeted to me, shared with me on social media just how expensive groceries have been in your shopping cart lately. And eggs has certainly been a pain point for many people, increasing by more than 60%. As you know, a dozen of eggs more than doubled in price, in fact, in 2022. And part of that was because of the bird flu in the United States that disrupted supply. To give you an idea just how much this was, because yes, you hear about the bird flu, but how many birds were affected? Did you know that almost 60 million birds, 60 million chickens were affected across 47 states here in the United States? This is according to the CDC. Now, the prior record for this was in 2015, when over 50 million birds died. This is really, really significant. So it seems like because this has been some time and they've gotten this under control, they've unfortunately had to kill a lot of chickens and a lot of birds. Because of this, well, it looks like supply chains are starting to get a little bit better and prices of eggs are starting to come back as well. In fact, since December, data came out that showed that wholesale egg prices have fallen by more than 50%. So you may have seen the prices of eggs go down a little bit. I certainly did. I saw it go down a little bit at Costco and Sam's Club recently, and certainly probably in the major supermarkets as well. But the question is if you're going to see that much more of a drop, especially since we're going right into Easter, which is on April 9th. And usually people buy a lot of eggs for Easter, right? Kids like to decorate their Easter baskets and decorate their eggs different colors. So that's going to increase. But what I thought was really interesting is the bird flu seems like to be the avian flu. It doesn't seem like it's a temporary thing. In fact, last year they said because of migration, there was a big case, a major case of the avian flu, and that came right around February 22nd. So that could come back again this year. So be on the lookout. Get your eggs while you can. If you do consume eggs right now, seems like it's a good time in terms of pricing. You might want to get that omelet in when you can. But with that, lastly, I'm just going to tell you we've got 70 days left to April 18th, my friends, which is this year's tax filing deadline. So, as your neighborhood financial friend here, don't forget 70 days left, April 18th, their tax filing deadline. Make sure you get those 1099s and W-2s all squared away and ready to go get all that stuff organized because it's just going to be around the corner. 70 days is going to pass pretty quickly. And with that, my friends, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm going to come back to you with my co-host on In the Loop for uh, obviously In the Loop. Greg Nibbler and I are coming back tomorrow. We're going to have a really special show planned for you as well. So definitely check us out. Make sure to join us again. If you miss us because you're busy, you can always check us up on replay. Follow me on social media. Take a moment if you can to like and subscribe to this show and whatever channel you're following me on. You can find full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, Roku, and many other places. And don't forget to check out Yes Factor with Winnie Sun on Apple Podcasts. So that way you can just plug in, you can listen, you don't even have to be watching. It's that easy. Thank you so much, my friends. I look forward to seeing you very soon. See you tomorrow and take care. Bye bye now.